just try to win, right? And it's not going to be
baby, Al Davis.
It's not going to be about your points. Now, in saying that, Austin Matthews got to get going, boys.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not taking him off the hook either. I watched him Saturday night. And
you never have.
When have you ever had it on the hook?
Yeah.
The second clip, Derek, is very interesting too. On defense, team defense. Play that.
For all teams and all individual players, sometimes there's an arc in a career in which you sort of figure things out. And all we can do sometimes on the management side, when we can't go on the ice and play, is help people get there. Give them the support they need. I've been really impressed with our players and their commitment to the defensive side of the puck. And it's going to be an ongoing year-long process. But if you want to win the big trophy at the end of the year, we've seen teams in the past that have decided and made a commitment. Sometimes it's personnel-driven, and sometimes it's just team-driven where a group of people have banded together and decided that they're going to play a certain way. So there's a lot of parity in the league right now. Every game is tough, but I do think that those metrics on our defensive end is really important if we want to get to where we want to get to.
Certainly seen.
Love that.
I love listening to talk about hockey.
I've seen enough to say that there has been ample proof that there's a style of play that we think that they could be really successful in the playoffs with.
Absolutely.
Right now? Like for
Over the course of 25 games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Puck still needs to go in.
he made a very valid point in saying that can you bring it together when it matters most? And like now we're on a 2-game losing streak. They didn't play well at all against Washington. Much better
Still not great.
against
better.
Pitt.
Yeah.
Better. So this one to me is an important one here.
Well,
Right?
I think it's going to be a tight game.
I don't want to, if you got a feeling like they could get blown out tonight, that's not a good sign. Like I'm banking on if they don't win tonight, then
You're concerned about their ability to bring it when they need
they better
to.
lose 2-1 with an empty net goal.
Yeah.
They better not lose like 5-1 because
3-1?
they've got better goaltending. They've had better structure. They don't give up a ton of odd man rushes.
Yeah.
They check hard. Like, it's okay if you don't win, but it's really important that if you don't win, then you still look a lot better than you ever have the last few years when you lost.
Speaking of good points of interviews, it was great Sheldon talking about their inability to score. And he's like, and we couldn't score when it mattered most. And that's why I'm talking to you from New Jersey. He acknowledged their inability to, to find it at the right time is why he's not in this country right now.
We should go.
Yeah.
The clip, he asked about Marner. He just says he's having a wonderful year and how elite he is defensively, but there's nothing about the contract, obviously. So
we got to get to
we should
Danica,
go.
unless you want to add to it today.
No. There's
Sure you want to start that conversation before we get a break?
I got 15 seconds.
Yeah, we should go.
No, not a chance. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, Ken Danico, tough guy in my day. We had a couple battles, I think.
I bet he's a tough guy in today's day.
He'll still scare the heebie-jeebies out of us when he comes on board. Danico after the break on Real Kipper and Bourne. The Kipper House, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. It's the Real Kipper and Bourne show. In a couple of minutes, we'll welcome in Ken Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, color analyst with MSG, and all-around great guy.
Lovely. Very excited to hear about the New Jersey Devils. Fun matchup tonight. Did you played against Danico?
Yeah, he was just all meat, no potatoes.
How big is he? Big guy.
Big guy, bigger than me.
All right.
I think he beat me up on a couple of occasions.
Okay.
Dano, you remember that?
Oh, I remember one time in Washington, Kipper, that we had a little bit of a set through there, yeah. But I don't remember much anymore at my old age.
Do you remember?
You only remember the ones you watch.
Yeah. Any recollection of the Leafs beating the Devils earlier in the season? Because we had Sheldon Keefe on yesterday and I asked him if he's going to put money on the board tonight. And he said, no, the boys gave me a big elephant dump on my head in the first game. I'm not going down that path again.
Well, yeah, I guess smart. Don't repeat what didn't work the first time around. But, yeah, the Leafs, that was early on. Leafs played a very good, I thought, road game, very sound. They've been much better defensively as as everybody knows, and kind of what was expected coming in with Berube behind the bench, a little more structured and disciplined. Although, having said that, I always maintain, watching the Leafs a lot last year in the playoffs and doing NHL Network, they played a real structured, solid game as well. They just couldn't put the puck in the net enough, because I thought they played pretty darn well last playoff series against the Bruins. They just couldn't find a way to win, which so they were pretty structured again, and maybe similar to Berube as well this year. But going to be a good game. Looking forward to it. Devils would like a little revenge, and they have not lost 2 in a row in a while, where they've been able to bounce back. They've showed a lot of resiliency after losing to Colorado the other night. So we'll see what transpires, fellas.
Ken, have you noticed a difference in the way the Devils play since Sheldon Keefe, or is some of the success just new players and some better seasons from the players that were there?
Yeah, I think it's a combination for sure. I mean, obviously last year teams never make excuses, but their goaltending was real bad. It wasn't. It was young guys that struggled. They had injuries, and they just could never really find their footing. But a lot of guys didn't play up to expectations, and that happens, unfortunately, to a lot of teams. And they wanted to bounce back here, so I would say a combination as far as they've made some great additions. They're a much tougher team to play against. They're able to, balance it out with the high-end skill and speed that they have. But Fitzgerald did a really nice job in the offseason of bringing in heavier bodies, guys that can win puck battles. We always talk about that, use that term, but it's half the game. I mean, who has the puck, and you have to be able to retrieve the puck and win some of those battles. They couldn't do that too often last year. And this year they just have a lot more composure. They're bigger on the back end with the 3 guys they added that play a little meaner style, a little more physical. And they've been still a work in progress, but a much improved, much better team. And Sheldon's been really good here. I mean, coming in, he had a lot of success in the regular season, and that's important because this team has to become a sustainable playoff team. We'll worry about the playoffs when they get there, but the point is he's brought in a nice balance of, he holds those guys accountable. He's gotten through to the star guys that it's not just about producing offense. Yes, we all know they have to do their thing, and they have Bratt and Heischer and certainly Jack Hughes and Meyer and guys like that. But situational play, and I think that's where Sheldon's really improved the club as far as understanding that you got to chip it in every once in a while when you're up 3-2 or 4-2, and the star guys have certainly bought into that more this season.
We're talking to Ken Daneyko, color analyst with MSG, teeing up the New Jersey Devils, Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. As far as Jacob Markstrom's concerned, that's a name that we heard quite a while last season, and it never came to fruition. And then the trade in the offseason, and just what has he brought? I mean, you of all could speak of what a solid goaltender behind you can feel like all those years in New Jersey winning Stanley Cups.
Yeah, well, obviously I was very fortunate to have one of the best, if not the best, if I'm being biased, and not to mention he can handle the puck, so he probably the way he handled it, he probably prolonged my career, Kipper, for 5 years. Because now when you're going hard back for the puck, I realized after about 5 years with Marty, I go, I don't have to get my face smashed in the glass and protect it every single time. I can peel off, and he can beat 2 forecheckers with a tape-to-tape pass. Right. So that was kind of nice, being able to kind of ride off to the to the half wall, and it was right on my tape, and then out of the zone. We joke about that still to this day, but he said, "Yeah, I wanted to help you with a little wear and tear, Dano." So that was kind of nice.
Saved
nice
your TV career, right?
Yes. Even though I still have a face for radio, they're still putting me on the TV. But all kidding aside, and Markstrom's brought some consistency. Look, there's been at times he'll have a hiccup or let in a goal that he'll tell you he wants back, or maybe have a bad period. or bad game. But what he does bring, and that's why I think it was important for the Devils with Marty part of the team now as well. And as an executive in Fitzy was the goaltenders are veteran guys. I know Allen's banged up and won't be the backup tonight, but it's day to day. But both guys have brought that veteran presence and steadiness in net where they make the big saves when you have to. Markstrom, no question, as the number one. After, he'll maybe let one in that you go, he's got to have that. He'll make 3 spectacular saves to keep you around. And he did that against the Rangers the other night where it was a 5-1 final score, but I don't think that was indicative of the game. Devils got off to a good start. And then he made 3 or 4 just fabulous saves, and that's what he's capable of. He's athletic. He's a competitor. He's a guy you can tell wants to win bad. He enjoys being here, and he's certainly done a really nice job thus far for this team. And when your guy makes a big save, you know how you make a mistake. It's a game of mistakes, whether you're a defenseman, forward, turn the puck over, and if it's in the back of your net every time, it gets frustrating. Well, it's not always in the back of your net. He's been bailing them out when they do make that mistake, even though they are, like I said, much, much improved defensively and harder in their zone. And you have a lot of guys with good sticks. Pesci's been a great acquisition. Dylan's everything is advertised, physicality, and the one guy that's probably been a pleasant surprise, way better than any of us anticipated, but he has been damn good, and that's Kovacevic. He's just a real good, long reach, tall guy, tough guy, and he certainly uses his stick well and brings a little physicality too. So it's a completely different makeup on the back end with Dougie Hamilton healthy, doing his thing on the power play or offensively, where he can beat a goaltender clean with that shot. He's got a terrific shot, as we know. So it's a different dynamic back there. And they've kind of worked together with Markstrom certainly making the big save when he needs to bail you out.
The Toronto Maple Leafs may be taking a new approach to salary management, which could directly impact Mitch Marner's contract negotiations. During Kyle Dubas' tenure as general manager, the team didn't hesitate to spend heavily, and this trend began with a 6-year extension signed by Marner in 2019. At the time, Marner's $10.9 million annual cap hit set the market for superstar wingers, surpassing comparable players like Mikko Rantanen of the Colorado Avalanche, who signed a 6-year deal with a $9.25 million annual cap hit. Now, however, times seem to be changing. TSN's Pierre LeBrun recently reported that the Maple Leafs have implemented an internal salary cap, aiming to ensure no player earns more than captain Auston Matthews, who signed a 4-year extension worth $13.25 million per season in August 2023. The team's primary concern revolves around Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, who, according to LeBrun, might push for a percentage of the total salary cap instead of a fixed dollar amount. This could result in Marner's cap hit exceeding Matthews' $13.25 million, conflicting with the Leafs' new financial strategy. Ferris is known for driving negotiations to the limit, often taking his clients to free agency. This raises fears that discussions between Marner and the Leafs could drag on until July 1st, giving Marner and his camp all the leverage in negotiations. Another complicating factor is the rising market. LeBrun noted that Mikko Rantanen believes he could secure $14 million per season as a free agent. This sparks the question, could Marner demand even more? And would Ferris take that gamble, knowing the Leafs might opt to move on and sign another player? Marner has made it clear on multiple occasions that Toronto is where he wants to be. As a local player with deep ties to the city, he's expressed his desire to spend his entire career wearing the blue and white of the Leafs. However, staying with the team may require him to accept less than market value, especially if the front office remains committed to its new salary structure. Such a sacrifice could be vital for the team's collective success and to avoid financial issues that have plagued the recent past. While negotiations are still in the early stages, it's evident that Marner's future with the Leafs is at stake. Maple Leafs fans may need to prepare for the possibility of significant changes, but they can also trust in the player's commitment to the city and the franchise to find a compromise. The Maple Leafs' decision to implement an internal salary cap reflects a broader shift in their team-building philosophy. After years of prioritizing top-end talent with hefty contracts, the organization appears determined to strike a balance between superstar contracts and depth throughout the roster. This strategy aims to avoid the pitfalls of past seasons, where a lack of financial flexibility often left the team vulnerable in critical playoff moments. For Mitch Marner, this shift creates a unique challenge. On one hand, his value to the Leafs is undeniable. A consistent top scorer and elite playmaker, Marner has been instrumental in driving the team's offense. On the other hand, his ability to command a salary that rivals or exceeds Austin Matthews could put the Leafs in a difficult position, especially with a potential need to strengthen other areas of the roster. As the 2023-24 season progresses, the Leafs must weigh the potential consequences of sticking to their cap philosophy. Losing a homegrown talent like Marner would undoubtedly sting for fans and the organization alike. However, allowing one player to dictate financial terms beyond the team's structure could hinder long-term success and force painful sacrifices elsewhere. Adding to the complexity is the looming free agency of William Nylander. If the Leafs are to stick to their internal salary cap, they may also face challenges in retaining Nylander, who could command a significant raise. Balancing contracts for both Marner and Nylander within the new framework could prove to be the ultimate test for Toronto's management team. Another factor at play is the team's ultimate goal, winning the Stanley Cup. While star players like Marner and Matthews are crucial, history has shown that depth and balanced rosters often prevail in the postseason. If the Leafs fail to manage their finances effectively, they risk falling short of building a championship-caliber team, even with elite talent. For Marner, the decision to stay with the Leafs might come down to more than just dollars. His connection to the city, the fans, and his teammates could be deciding factors. If he prioritizes legacy and loyalty over maximizing earnings, there's a strong possibility that he'll work with the team to find a deal that benefits both parties. Negotiations will also test Darren Ferris, known for his hardline tactics in securing lucrative deals for his clients. While pushing for top dollar is expected, Ferris may need to weigh the risks of alienating the Leafs management and fanbase. A prolonged stalemate could damage Marner's relationship with the team and its supporters. The Leafs management, led by general manager Brad Treliving, faces a pivotal moment. Treliving's reputation as a negotiator and team builder will be on full display as he navigates this high-stakes scenario. Striking the right balance could solidify his tenure in Toronto, while a misstep might set the team back for years. For Maple Leafs fans, the coming months will be filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Marner's future, along with the team's ability to stay competitive under financial constraints, will likely dominate conversations as the season unfolds. Supporters can only hope that the team's new approach leads to greater playoff success and, ultimately, the elusive championship. In the end, the outcome of these negotiations could redefine the Maple Leafs' identity for years to come. Whether it results in retaining Marner or reshaping the roster, the team's commitment to an internal salary cap signals a clear focus on long-term sustainability. Fans will be watching closely, hoping for a resolution that keeps the team's core intact and their championship dreams alive. As the negotiations with Mitch Marner progress, another layer of complexity is added by the external competition in the NHL market. Teams with more cap space and fewer restrictions could easily present lucrative offers to Marner if he reaches free agency. The Leafs are not only negotiating with Marner but also indirectly competing with other franchises willing to outbid them for his services. One example of this is Mikko Rantanen, whose potential $14 million value on the open market highlights the growing demand for elite wingers. If Rantanen secures such a deal, it could set a precedent that Marner's camp would use as leverage. The Leafs, however, must remain disciplined, as breaking their internal salary cap for Marner could lead to similar demands from other key players down the line. The looming specter of free agency means the Leafs have a limited window to strike a deal. If negotiations drag on into the off-season, the leverage shifts heavily in favor of Marner and his agent. Darren Ferris, known for his strategic patience, could use this to push for maximum value, putting even greater pressure on the Leafs management to make a decision. This scenario also places significant pressure on head coach Sheldon Keefe. Managing a team amid ongoing contract uncertainty can disrupt chemistry and focus. Keefe will need to ensure that the team remains united and focused on their performance, even as the media and fans speculate about Marner's future. Meanwhile, the Leafs core group, including Austin Matthews, Morgan Rielly, and John Tavares, will likely play a role in influencing Marner's decision. The camaraderie among the players and their collective drive for a championship could persuade Marner to accept a deal that aligns with the team's financial structure. On the flip side, the Leafs could explore contingency plans if a deal with Marner doesn't materialize. Trading Marner would be a bold move, but it could bring significant assets in return, potentially bolstering the team in areas like defense or secondary scoring. This option, while unpopular with fans, might be necessary to maintain roster balance. The timing of these decisions is also critical. With the trade deadline months away, the Leafs must assess whether keeping Marner without an extension risks losing him for nothing in free agency. A preemptive trade could avoid this scenario, but it would also signal a significant shift in the team's short-term goals. Fan sentiment will undoubtedly influence the team's approach. Marner is not just an exceptional player, he's a fan favorite and a symbol of homegrown talent succeeding in Toronto. Losing him could lead to backlash, especially if the team struggles in the aftermath of his departure. The broader NHL landscape also plays a role. As other teams navigate their own salary cap challenges, the Leafs can learn from their successes and failures. Organizations like the Tampa Bay Lightning and Vegas Golden Knights have shown the value of balancing star power with depth, offering a potential blueprint for Toronto's future.